What's up, guys? Welcome to the Zach and Pat Show. I'm Zach.
I'm Pat.
And this is our first episode. We're here and we're going to, be doing a weekly podcast here. And, we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff. Born and raised here in St. Louis, Missouri. We're both real estate professionals. We're both dads. We're both athletes. We both know a ton of people in the St. Louis community. And, we thought this would be a great opportunity to spotlight some of those people, learn and grow as better people, and really just kind of make an entertaining show. And that's really what we're here to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, we want to help not just ourselves grow through this, but we want to help other people, and hopefully you guys resonate with what it is that we have to say. I feel like we've both been through a lot in our lives to get to this point, and we've learned a lot that allows us to do what we do and be successful at it. So I'd like to share that information.
Yeah, and we're excited to do it. We're both big fans of podcasts. Like I'm a big consumer myself, so this is something I've always wanted to do. So I'm excited to be here and excited to do it with one of my best friends.
Yeah,
so we kind of thought we'd start this episode off, kind of introducing ourselves and kind of talking about where we come from. So
yeah, that's fine. I'll be happy to go first, lead the way here. And guys, Pat Doyle here. Like Zach said, we're in the real estate business. I'm on the financing side of it, so I help finance the American dream. We just something that I got into after I retired from baseball. So a little backstory, I grew up in St. Louis, started playing baseball at a young age, played hockey, football, and baseball growing up, and just happened to succeed and excel at baseball. Was able to translate that into a college scholarship, which then turned into a pro career. Did that for a handful of years. And then I got out. I'm like, what do I do? And I was fortunate enough that my mom was in this business and she brought me into it. And, that's that mindset, that competitiveness that comes with this business. The drive, like you can't just sit on your hands and do nothing. Like with baseball, if you want to get better in any sport, you want to succeed, you've got to push yourself. It's all within yourself. And that's what I love about this job is that you can make of it what you want. But if you're willing to continue to push yourself and get to that point, you can be uber successful. I know a lot of super successful people in this, and same thing on the actual real estate sales side of it. I mean, it's crazy. So, got two little boys, got Connor and Oliver. They're 5 and 4. Oliver just turned 4 a little bit ago. But yeah, they're my why. They're the reason why I do this now. I've been through a lot in the last year and a half, 2 years, with the market the way it is, going through a divorce, which that's something that I know a lot of guys need to talk about, which I'm excited to talk about on this. My journey through this has been a lot different than most people I know. So if I could share some insights in the way that I went through all of it and the way I thought about it and how I processed through things, if that can help somebody, that would be awesome. Love to be able to share that and hopefully that'll hit home with the husband and or the ex-husband and the ex-wife to where it makes sense to why behind it. So I mean, I just want to make sure that my boys are being raised that even though my ex-wife and I may not be together, they're still going to see a great relationship between me and my ex-wife, and then my ex-wife and her boyfriend, they're way more in love than her and I ever were. And that's awesome. And I'm so happy for them. So they get to see that good relationship. And then when the time comes for me, when I meet somebody, they're going to get to see that on my side as well. So, I don't know what you can ask for 3 better relationships for my kids to see and grow and learn from, because I mean, they're watching always. It's, they repeat and see and say and do, it's insane, but I want to make sure that I'm raising them with good morals, principles, and ethics so that they grow into men.
Yeah.
Honorable, good men. So,
I mean, it was kind of one of the things we wanted to focus on in the show. We're kind of, writing kind of our slogan or whatever we wanted to talk about, and we kind of came to, we wanted to talk about manhood or what it means to be a man, self-improvement and, the art of, winning at business. And that's kind of what we kind of wanted to center this podcast on. And everything that you just said right there really kind of cements it.
Yeah. So Zach, tell us about yourself, man.
Yeah. So, born and raised here in St. Louis, Missouri. Grew up, about 10, 15 minutes from here and, in South County. And well, I mean, we're in South County, but, about 10 minutes from where we are right now. I grew up, I was not an athletic kid. I was always kind of the, chubby, funny friend, amongst all my buddies. And then when I got to high school, I started playing sports like really competitively. I got into football and wrestling, and that really changed my life. Kind of put me on a different path. I had some really good coaches that really, instilled, work ethic and I think that a lot of those ethics that I learned from them, I still, use to this day for sure. I mean, wrestling, I always say wrestling changed my life. It definitely put me on kind of the path, that I am today. I think, that I'm on today. So I went to St. Mary's High School, graduated from there, went to Missouri State, joined a fraternity, did the whole, college experience, the parties, the frat parties, the fun, I had a blast down there for 4 years. When I was a junior in college, previously I'd worked in a lot of restaurants. I'd always had jobs in restaurants. I spent about a decade in the restaurant industry. So I was really good at it. And I kind of always thought that that was where I saw myself because it's all I'd ever known. It's something I always thought that I was really good at. And then, my junior year of college, one of my good friends, his dad, they own a number of restaurants here in town, and they came up to me and asked me if I wanted to be a part of them opening up a new concept for a restaurant or new, restaurant here in town. And, I jumped at the opportunity. And I thought it would be, cause I thought that's kind of what I wanted to do. So I graduated and then immediately went and kind of started that process with them. Once we actually found the location, spent about 9 months doing the construction on it. So I had a lot of, I learned a ton, construction wise. Before that, I had flipped a couple houses with my dad. So I had a little bit of experience with construction. And then by the time we opened up, I ran the restaurant for the first year. And we were having, some disagreements, on what kind of needed to happen. And I ended up stepping away from the restaurant. After I put a lot of years, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it, I decided it was the best move for me to step away. And, cause I realized it just wasn't really what I wanted anymore. And, I was kind of lost there for, a number of months. I went and worked at, an electric company. I thought, maybe I'll be an electrician. I spent a lot of time doing the construction and kind of got to know a lot of the guys in the trades. And I was like, man, that doesn't seem like such a bad life. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, 7 to 3, they make good money. They're off on holidays. They've got, it seems like it would be a good life. So I ended up going to work at an electric company for a number of months. Thought maybe I'd be an electrician. And I found out pretty quickly that wasn't what I wanted to do. I always talked to the guys that were in their like 40s and 50s. And they just didn't seem happy to be going to work every day. And I was like, all right, well, that's my future. So maybe this isn't what I wanted to do. And then my grandma, she is 83 years old.
Shout out Jerry.
Yeah, shout out to Jerry. She's 83 years old and still a licensed agent. She knocks out a couple deals every year. My grandpa passed away a number of years ago. And, this is something that she's, her and my grandpa had a very successful business for a number of years. And, she's still doing it to this day, obviously not doing the volume that they once were, but, she's still doing the damn thing. And I'm proud of her. And it's something her and I talk about every time we get together. She goes, I sit around, we sit around her kitchen table in her house. And, first thing she always asks me, how's biz? And I love chatting with her, talking about the deals we got going on and stuff. But, anyway, so she was the one who talked me into getting my real estate license. And this was, mid 2019. And I ended up getting my license in September of 2019. And, I kind of worked with her for a little bit from the get-go. But I kind of she, like I said, she's 83 years old. She's kind of on the tail end of her business. She's not, young and hungry and out like looking for, a lot of deals and looking for clients to work with. So I was like, all right, I kind of need to figure out, what I need to do to be successful in this and make a career out of it. And, I just so happened to talk to my friend Connor, who's in, we do jujitsu together. And he introduced me to my friend Alex Fairbanks, who really took me under his wing, when I first got started, kind of showed me the ropes. He was actually moving out to California at the time. and he was still trying to kind of successfully run his business in St. Louis while he was starting a real estate business in California. So it was kind of perfect. The kind of stars aligned, and he kind of trained me to learn. I learned a ton from him. He really kind of taught me almost everything I know, and I've learned more since. Him and I obviously still work together a lot, um, but he kind of showed me the ropes. I actually went out and visited him in California and spent about about a week with him and his business coach, and I was like and they really showed me what it was like to be a real estate agent, and then took that back, and this was kind of the beginning of 2020, and then, I was still working in restaurants at this time, waiting tables. I left the electric company, went back to waiting tables because I thought, I can make more money, work less hours, and while I'm trying to figure out this real estate thing, and then March of 2020 happened, and the whole world shut down, and I couldn't wait tables anymore, and I was like, all right, what the hell do I do? So I was like, all right, I guess I'll be a full time real estate agent, and I just started treating it like a job. Making calls 8 to 10 hours a day. We could still go on showings and appointments and stuff like that at the time, and I was able to successfully close 30 deals my first year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I was pretty proud of that my first year in real estate, and I've done more and more deals every year since, and and so this is my fourth year in the business, and I'm done a little under 150 transactions in the last 4 years, so it's been a whirlwind. I've kind of gotten into the investment side of things too. I help out a ton of real estate investors. I'm an investor myself. I've done a couple flips. I've got a small rental portfolio that I'm trying to grow, and yeah, so I learned something from every deal that I do, and through that process, it's just been a great learning experience, and I definitely know that I've grown over the last 4 years significantly. Like I think everything in my whole life's changed,
That's
and
awesome.
it's been great.
So we can thank COVID for you making that jump full time. I mean,
100%. Dude. Oh,
that's
that was like I always say, COVID was like the best thing that ever happened to me.
yeah,
Like
it's
it really
right
was.
because I mean I've been in this business for 9 years now, and one of the things that we see with agents is they go part time. I'm going to be a part time agent so I can get my feet on the ground. But that's the thing is you're never going to get your feet on the ground as a
Yeah.
part time agent. You got to make that jump if and put that faith in yourself. You say that goes back to kind of the stuff that you learned through sports growing
Oh,
up there with
100%.
wrestling. I
Dude.
mean, shoot, it's mano a mano out there. It's not a team sport.
No.
You're fighting against someone else. I mean,
Yeah, you got no one to rely on but yourself.
yeah,
When you're out there, that whistle blows, and it's just you and that guy, and he wants to. I mean, now I'm more into jujitsu, and where I'm going to say that guy wants to take me down and hurt me. It's like
what's that mindset like when someone's coming up like on your back and trying to choke you out?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
it's like my mindset is get my back on the floor and get back to a guard and sweep this motherfucker. But it's the best thing that I think I mean, I would tell anybody, I'm sure I'll talk about it a lot on this podcast, but in jujitsu, it's been something that's changed my life significantly. I got into that like right before I got into real estate, and it's cool to see that like as I've grown with that, I've grown with real estate, kind of at the same time. And it's like I've gotten into, I've coached at my gym for the last 2 years. That's, changed me significantly. It's made me a better, much better at jujitsu. Just I think a much better person, a much better teacher, leader. And Yeah, I mean, it's just there's so many lessons that you learn from individual sports. I think that are different because I grew up playing team sports. I played soccer, played baseball, played football. I was never very good at any of them. I'll totally admit. Like I played football 4 years of high school, and I loved every minute of it. But when I look back on it, I feel like I loved the team and just being around the guys more than I loved like the sport itself.
right.
And man, I'm 5'7" and 170 pounds, like I'm not like built to be, and I was playing offensive line and outside linebacker, like I'm not built, like I don't have the build for
Right.
football, but like wrestling, obviously you wrestle people that are your size. And, that's where I was never, I didn't win state or anything. But I did pretty well. I wasn't the best guy out there, but it's kind of upper middle, I thought at the time. And, but yeah, it just taught me so much.
Yeah, you mentioned something, and I was the same way. Like I always felt I got better when I was coaching. Like I, you're giving lessons. Like I would give pitching lessons in the off season, and I'd come back, and it's like I'm working with these kids and you're learning through these kids. It was awesome. I mean, I would like tell these kids, I'm like, and it would just click. I'm like, oh shit, that's where I need to fix it. Like, and it's awesome.
And then when you're going, you're like, oh, you like it like clicks with
right.
you, man, and it's makes complete sense. Like, sorry to cut you off.
Oh, you're fine, man. Family, tell me about your family, man.
Yeah, so me and my wife, we've been together since we were seniors in high school. So 13 years now.
It's just not something you see a whole lot of these days. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. We started a fish. We started. I think I met her when I was 16. And then we kind of did the whole talk for a couple years. Hook up a couple times. It was never. But then we officially boyfriend girlfriend. When our senior year, and then at the time. Her and I just so happened to be going to the same college. And I think that's probably one of the things that like, all right, well, we're going to start this relationship, as seniors, halfway through our senior year of high school, like at least we're going to the same college,
Right.
So like if we want to, continue this, and it ended up working out great. And, we stayed together all through college and everything. I think, well, I always tell the story that we broke up for like 2 days, and then I got drunk one night and was like, "I miss you," and
I could
so
totally see.
yeah. I was like, I was my buddies trying to, come be single with us, kind of thing, and it was, and of course I kind of fell for that, and then realized that wasn't really what I wanted, and yeah, we've been together, 13 years, married for 4, and we have a beautiful son. He's 20 months old now, so he'll be 2 in April, and we're pregnant, and she's pregnant with our second.
That's awesome.
Doing June.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we're really excited, and yeah, becoming a dad, that's something that is relatively new to me as well, and that's been it's changed my life significantly.
What's the biggest thing you've learned from being a father?
Man, just like watching him grow, man, and like learning. I feel like it's just made me a better man. I'm so much more conscious of what I do, and like, cause man, especially now, man, he's like a sponge. Like I say something, he just repeats it, and like you do something, like, but I did something the other day. Like I dropped something, I was like, oh damn it. He goes, damn it. And I was like, oh my God. Like he was just like copying me. And it's just you gotta be really aware of what you're doing, and like I wanna set a great example of what it means to be a man, and like I'm constantly on display now, and that's kind of something I'm aware of, and obviously when you have a kid, it changes your lives and your routine significantly, so that's still been something that's just getting out of the house in the morning sometimes is difficult. It just it's not no longer just throw my pants on, put my shoes on, and walk out the door. You got a lot of steps that need to be taken before you can before you can leave the house. So that that's been something that's been an adjustment for me. But I mean, it's all great things. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would say patience for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's probably one of my biggest things that I've learned. Like I thought I was a patient person before.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole new ball game when you become a father, and what it is like. You're not going to get it right off the bat. I mean, I always tell my ex-wife this, and don't hate me for saying this I mean, it's one of the, like with the moms, they come out and they have this immediate attachment to them. They just grew this thing in their body for 10 months,
Totally
40 weeks. And like when Connor and Oliver came out, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I felt happiness, but like, it wasn't until, a month or two in when they start recognizing you and they smile at you, like, that's when I really finally fell in like, all right, I love these little things and we'll do anything. And then, I don't know if this is something that has come up for you yet, but I know when we found out that she was pregnant with Oliver, our second one, because of how much I was in love with Connor, like, I don't know if I have enough room in my heart to love a second kid, but
we're talking about that same thing right now.
Dude, you'd be amazed. Like your heart, like there's so much room in your heart for that. And then that was my biggest thing with that. And it scared the shit out of me. I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to love another child like I love this one? And it just happens. Like it's there, and don't let that scare you, because it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah,
for sure. And I know I've talked to a lot of people that have had that same thing, and just be like, it's there. Don't worry about that. It's there. And Gina's probably already there. Gina probably already feels it, knows it. She's the one
carrying,
doing all the work.
Oh, 100%. You know,
my
work was done, you know, a couple months ago, you know. Yeah, dude, exactly. I totally agree with what you're with what you're saying there, cuz like I thought that I'm like, how do I love you know, this other baby as much as I love Calvin, cuz it's like, man, he's fucking everything. I love that kid so much. And you know, I heard this quote once, and I think it was on Rogan, and he was talking about Chappelle, and I think he said Chappelle said that, you know, whenever you have kids, it changes your capacity for love.
Yeah.
And I think that was like a really true statement. And I definitely felt that, because like I just never felt like I loved anything as much as I love Calvin. I mean, I love Gina, I love my parents, I love, you know, all the stuff that I do. It's a different thing.
It's a whole different.
But yeah, I feel like it changed my capacity for love, and I felt like that was a great way to put it. Like I remember when we, because you know, Calvin was in the NICU for like 2 days whenever he was first born. He had a little bit of a breathing issue. It was resolved within like an hour of him being out of Gina. But then like their standard is like, once he's in the NICU, he's got to, like, the way she said it, he's got to like prove himself or like pass the test to like graduate and go, you know, like up to the normal infirmary or whatever. So like that first 2 days, Gina like couldn't move out of the bed or anything yet. So like I would like walk down there and like go see him, you know, at night, and like FaceTime her, and like, and I just remember like, I've never, like, I'm not a big crier. I'm not a very emotional person, but like, man, like I remember like walking back to our room after like spending, you know, like at 30 minutes with him, like holding him in the NICU. And I just remember just bawling my eyes out. And I was like, I've never cried like this ever. And in my whole life, I don't think.
Yeah.
Like I've never felt like this. And I wasn't crying because I was sad. I was just like, I remember crying. She's like, what is wrong with you? I've never seen you like this. I just never thought, I've never felt this emotion before.
Right.
And it was so crazy to me. Like I've just never felt that much love in my heart ever. And it was such a eye-opening experience for me, because that's another thing I would say about having a kid is like, you just feel very vulnerable and being, you know,
absolutely.
like I've never felt so vulnerable, because like they're so fragile and they're so small, and like just you're everything. And it's like, it's just crazy.
And like, then you're like, oh shit, am I going to raise this kid the right way?
I know,
like,
dude.
Is what I'm doing right? And you're always going to be questioning it. But I saw a quote that, you know, they're like, if you're a parent that's worried if you're raising your kids right, you're probably raising your kids right. You know, and it's just, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, like I said, I would do anything for those two boys, and I don't know what I would do if anything happened to those kids, but God, man, they change your life.
Oh, 100%.
And it's cool now because we're both at that age, you know, where our friends have kids, or they're having kids or having more kids. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of cool to see that transition from like the shitheads we were growing up to like where we are now. And like, not just in terms of that, but with like, I'm sure you can say the same thing, but like how successful your group of friends are. Like, you know, you're who you surround yourself with. And the group of friends that I have are all like uber successful, and it's awesome to see that, because it just pushes me to make better. And it's awesome.
Yeah, there's that cheesy saying where you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and I'm like, man, that is such a true statement. And like I've totally felt that, you know, especially over the last, you know, like 4 or 5 years, where I've gotten into real estate, and I've met so many of these like uber successful people, and you spend all these time with, and just, I remember, because it was like, I remember when I first started spending time around people that were, you know, very successful in real estate, I remember like thinking like, oh, like I guess I had this illusion that like they were just like they're the reason they're making this much money or this successful is because they're just smarter, or they've got something I don't, or like, and I realized it's not that. It's just they just got really good at one thing, and they got hyper fixated on it, and got really good at this one thing, and it's just about where they spend their time and who they spend their time with.
Right.
And I was like, oh, they're not that much different than me. They think the same way I do about this thing, and you know, they just got really obsessed with real estate or with business or with whatever their particular thing is. And it was just like an eye-opening moment for me. And I just specifically remember that, like kind of when I was hanging out with Alex and Paul and all these other guys, and all these uber successful like people in the real estate space, and it just really opened my eyes to what is possible. And I was like, oh shit, because you spend those time you hang out with those people, and you're like, oh, they're not that much different than me.
Right.
Like they started, a couple years ago, they were in my exact shoes, and like I see what they did in 2 years, like, oh, okay, well, why can't I do that?
Right.
I can do it too.
And
So
the next thing you know, you're right there with them,
Right.
or have exceeded them.
exactly.
I mean, I think that's where I got lucky too, is I entered into this business, through my mom. She was on a team with my business partner now, Nick, and he's been one of the top producers in whatever company we're with, whether when we were Cornerstone and now Guild. We've always, he's always been one of the number one producers in that business. And then the number 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all out of my same branch. And
Yeah.
it's like, how am I not supposed to be good? Like, I feel like I still feel with where I'm at. I'm like, man, like I know where I'm at, like compare, like I don't even like to compare, but just where I'm at, like in the growth that I've had is huge. But at the same time, like I still see these people, and they're still growing, and they start like, it's like, okay, I'm catching them. I got to catch, like, that's the drive. You got to have that. Like, I want to get to that point. Like, I want to produce more than Nick. I want to produce more than Randy, Stephanie, Pam, like all these loan officers that are out of my branch that are in the top 5 every month in production and units and all this, and even countrywide. Like, you see that, and it just forces you, and you're around it, so you learn from it. Like, like Nick is a genius when it comes to solving problems and knowing how deals get fixed and done. And all of them are, but they have their different niches. And now I'm able to just kind of absorb everything. And now it's like, all right, I've got it all, where they're focusing on each and every one. Like, I'm learning from all of them, and it's funny because when I got into this, like, there was just there's so much competition, like even within our branch, like just the back and forth, like, oh, I beat you this month, or, oh, I'm going to get you next. Like, that's awesome. Like, I love that stuff. And that's what's crazy about pro ball. So like everybody thinks pro ball is this amazing thing. Don't get me wrong. I loved playing baseball. I obviously being a professional, there's nothing cool like, I played fucking pro ball.
Yeah,
like,
he's a fucking professional pitcher in the MLB. You know what a small percentage of people that make it to that high level.
Not quite the MLB, close.
Okay,
I pitched in some big league spring training games, but I played about as high level as you can without being a major league player. But everybody's like, oh my God, that's so cool. And yeah, it was really fucking cool to be like, yeah, I was a professional baseball player. Like, it's cool to say, but like the behind the scenes shit, like the shit that people don't see or don't know, like, fuck that sport. Like, seriously, like, and I'm sure it's the same way with other national, like football and MLB and NFL and NHL and all that stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of bullshit. Like, it's business.
Yeah, of course.
And that's the side that people don't see. But like the other things that people don't talk about, like, I made some good friends playing pro ball, but at the same time, like, even though I'm on the Reds, we're all competing for the same 25 spots in the big league. So like, you could be close with these guys, but like, I remember playing with guys, like, instead of pushing themselves to be better, they were hoping everybody else would fail, and then they would get their opportunity. I'm like, fuck that. No, if you want to be better, and it's probably why some of these guys and myself succeeded more than others, because obviously the ones that were hoping for you to fail, you didn't see them around very long. But the ones that were like, okay, awesome, this guy just pitched his ass off, now I have to go out and be better than that. Like, not, oh, he failed, I just barely have to be better, or I just have to go out and do okay. No, fuck that. This guy went out there, shoved, and now I need to go out and shove even harder. But that's the shit that's not how it happens, though. Like, you don't get close to guys because they want you to fail. I don't think I ever wanted any of my buddies or guys that I played with to fail. I wanted them to get better so I could be better. But that's the kind of bullshit you don't see. And I'm sure it happens in every sport and every professional sport. But like I said, I loved baseball, and I loved when I was on the mound competing. Like, there was no bet. Like, I'm going to fucking dominate you. When I stand on the mound, like, that was my mindset. Batter step in the box, fuck you. Like, I got this. Like, I know how to execute my pitches, and whether those are to your strengths, and I don't care, because my strengths are going to beat your strengths, and if it happens to be my strengths or your weaknesses, you're definitely fucked. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it was just baseball was awesome. I love competing. I love the work and the grind that you had to put into it, but it's all the other bullshit that went along with it. The business, uh, like I said, the shit behind the scenes, like
politics. I'm sure there's some like
right,
politics in
there's
it.
politics,
You get the
but like
coach's favorite.
that, and like it's not. I was alone, like, and I think, and kind of bringing this back around, but like that was one of the greatest lessons that I learned. Was like, hey, I'm in this on my own. Like, yeah, I've got people in my corner, agents, family, stuff like that. But really, it's on me. I've got to be better than the person next to me. I'm not hoping that they fail. I'm hoping they do good to push me. And, but I learned how to be alone. And I think that's one of the greatest things I probably could have picked up from baseball. Besides like Yogi Berra said, what's the saying? Like 90% of the game's mental, the other half is physical. Like it's yogiisms, like
sure,
it's all mental, and like being alone and being able to like process through those things. And like, that's what I loved about baseball. Was that mental grind. Like, I mean, you're playing every day.
Yeah. That's the crazy part. I mean, how many games are they playing? How many games does the MLB players play? It's like 200 something, right?
MLB is 162. Okay. Right. Minor league was 140. But our season, so MLB, we all started in April. Our season would end at the beginning of September. They would play all the way through September, and then you got the playoffs. So, but yeah, we would go, like, we would have one off day a month, except for the All-Star break, where you might get 2, maybe 3 days off. I mean, and there's another thing, you don't make any money. Yeah. They do now. There's a lawsuit that came out, and that sued Major League Baseball and won. And so it caused them to change the pay structure for a lot of these guys. Now, I mean, that's the thing, as a professional baseball player, like, I always had to make sure I had at least $7,000 to $10,000 saved up from the off season, just so I could survive through the season. Like that adds a whole nother layer of stress, especially if you're not a bonus baby. I wasn't a bonus baby. I didn't sign for millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah. I got $1,000 in a plane ticket. I'm like, fuck yeah, give me that shit.
I get to play. I get to make money playing baseball.
After taxes, I got $634. I bought a tattoo, pair of cowboy boots, and a case of beer. Like that's how I celebrated my signing bonus. But like, yeah, I mean, and if you're
hell yeah, brother. That's about as Midwest as it gets. Cowboy boots, probably a couple cans of dip and a tattoo.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a bottle of ranch.
Exactly. So, but yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing, is that's that grind that you just don't see, and it pushes you forward. But that's learning to be alone. And I kind of lost that getting out of it and getting into this business and then getting married. But since the divorce, like, that's the thing that I've learned again, is like how to be alone. And like, it's okay to be alone. Mm-hmm. It's okay to feel lonely. I've never learned more about myself in that time of being alone and lonely than I have ever in my life. Because you're there with your thoughts by yourself. So like, the way our kids, the schedule works with the kids is 2 days on, 2 days off. So like, those 2 days off where I'm at home by myself, like, obviously, doing things around the house, you can't keep a house clean with 2 kids by yourself. Like,
I got one and it's impossible.
Fuck that. Like, hey,
go downstairs. It looks like a disaster down there.
Like, hey, you know what? The house is going to be shit for 2 days, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be clean. No. Ask my ex-wife. She might say differently, but hey, that's
your house now, baby.
It's my house. And so, but anyway, yeah, the house will be a mess for 2 days. And then that's kind of the thing. Like, the next 2 days is I clean it up, but I use that as my alone time to think about myself and what I need to work on and where I need to be better at, and business and what I need to strive to be, better at that. And like, I've got my insecurities and things like that. I think everybody does, but it's using that alone time properly to get better with it, man. And it's been like, shitty as some people may think it is. Embrace the loneliness, embrace being alone. Like, I'm not saying go break up with your girlfriend or your wife or whatever, but that's the thing, is like, at the end of every day, I always make sure I've got 2 hours, just even when I got the kids, like, I get the kids to sleep, like, I take the next 2 hours to myself, just shut it down and focus on what needs to be done.
I do the exact same thing, man. Like, the second we get Calvin to bed at like 7:30 typically, and then Gina and I usually hang out till about 9 is usually when she goes to bed. And then I usually don't go to bed until like 11 because those are like my, because as you know, and with our careers, like we're pretty much always on call,
Right.
like, but after about 9 p.m., that's usually when I know, like, all right, I'm kind of done for the day. I know I'm not going to have anybody sending me anything that
Right.
that's just the nature of our business. So it's like, all right, 9 p.m., like I try to just like set this thing over there. I try to not look at it and like, all right, even if I'm just sitting there watching TV, which I'm still looking at a screen, but it's like time where I can just kind of decompress and like think about the day, or, I can actually like go and do things that I'm not going to be constantly answering my phone. And cause I'm sure, I'm trying to, we both have our phones on do not disturb right now, but I would guarantee that both of us have missed calls and text messages,
Right.
that are, wanting our attention. Our attention's constantly being pulled in different directions. And, that's something I was looking forward to with this podcast. It's like, all right, this is another time of the week where I can like literally just like focus on what's in
Focus.
front of me.
Exactly.
Cause like, I feel like, and that's something I've really tried to get better at. And I definitely still am not as good as I could be, but like, whenever I'm home with Calvin and spending time with him, like trying to not be on my phone,
Yeah.
cause it's
Yeah,
hard.
as
It's
intentional as
hard.
possible.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, it is hard some days, cause like, we got something going on. It's something that kind of has to be, there's a lot of, in real estate, there's a lot of things that have timelines and deadlines and things that need to get figured out like right here and now. And sometimes things do come up that I like have to handle because otherwise it's a lot of money that we're missing out on if
Right.
this deal gets messed up or something happens or something I've got to address. So like it's something I've really been trying to focus on is trying to, limit, anytime I'm spending with Calvin, like, all right, just put the phone down, like hang out with him, spend the time with him, go play trains or whatever he wants to do, like actually go be a dad, take the real estate hat off and put the dad hat on and, really focus on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you mentioned something, and this is part of what we're wanting to bring into this podcast and talk about. But you mentioned things that you were wanting to work on. I mean, what are some of your goals? And
Yeah.
we can dive into these in other episodes.
No,
But
yeah.
now I just want to know, like, while we're getting to know each other, what are some of your goals you have for the next year, and how often are you looking at and evaluating your goals and adjusting them? Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah. So, I had a pretty lofty goal this past year in 2023. I wanted to do 50 transactions.
That's
And
fucking incredible too.
so that was like my big goal. Looks like I'm gonna fall a little bit short of that. Should end up the year at 46 or 47, depending on this one. We're kind of up in the air on whether it's gonna close before the end of the year, but it'll definitely close, early January if it doesn't close at the end of the year. So 46 or 47, not a bad year at all. Definitely my best year by far.
Especially as a solo agent. Like, I know teams that don't even do that shit. Like, that's, and for people that aren't familiar with the real estate business, the average agent closes a deal a month. Like, we're dealing, like, Zach is probably in the top maybe 3 or 4% of agents in St. Louis. That's pretty fucking impressive, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I'm doing, I usually do about a 4 month. So it's been my, pretty consistent this last, couple years, so that, yeah, I close this year at, like 46 or 47 and I'll be like just shy of 12 million. Like roughly 11, I think it'll be like 11.8 in volume when everything closes, which, will be a really good year for me for
That's
sure. That's
awesome.
my best year by far. I mean, I've done more and more each year. And so, but some of my goals for 2024, I'm starting a team. So I've got an agent under me right now. I just switched brokerages too. So I'm now with Keller Williams St. Louis. We're starting a team. We've got a badass logo made and, my friend Zach just got his license and I'm going to be kind of training him to, um, be a real estate agent. He doesn't really like his job and, he's going to be kind of doing the part-time thing like you mentioned earlier, but, I didn't really get to weigh in on that, but I totally agree with you that, it is so difficult to do this part-time in my opinion. Like this is such a full time, like, cause you got to look at it like this, like, man, this is these people's biggest investment that they're, most people's homes are their biggest investment that they own. And, to trust that in the hands of someone that, is part-time and doesn't have, or isn't able to give you the full, full spectrum of their attention, like is, cause there's so many agents out there that can give you the full
Right.
full spectrum. So it's got to be hard as that part-time agent. But I look at it like this also, everybody's got to get started somehow. And I wouldn't exactly recommend anybody jump into this, without a, because I mean, you might not close your first deal for 6 months. Like I think I think I closed my first deal in May, and I really got started, like I said, in September of the previous year. So, I mean, it took me, I mean, I got my
Definitely.
license in September, but I really didn't do anything with it until like December, January time. So, but it still took me 5 months to like have any income. So,
Definitely have to be set up right.
yeah, like you definitely need you need some sort of income. So I would always recommend have something that's flexible, that you can kind of work your real estate schedule around that. But anyway, I'll get back to my goals. So anyway, I'm starting a team this year. It's gonna be called Key Lock Homes. We got a badass
That's
logo
awesome.
made. I'm excited. I threw a little jujitsu innuendo in there. The logo's got kind of a hidden jujitsu thing in it too, which I thought was kind of cool. My buddy Pat made it for me. He's a great graphic designer. I'm sure we'll have him on the podcast at some point. He's awesome. He's gotten into jujitsu over the last couple months, and he's been in my classes, and it's been really cool to see him. Just someone who's a friend outside of it, like grow and really like commit to it and fall in love with it. Anyway, so we're starting the team. So this year my goal was to do 50. So next year I want to try to do 60, and on top of that, I want the agent underneath me to do at least 12. So as the team, I want to do 72 transactions as the team. Um, I would love to, continue to grow my rental portfolio. So this past year, we bought one more rental. We got one that's kind of on the hook right now. We're kind of negotiating back and forth with the seller currently. But hopefully we can get that one under contract here before the end of the year and close on it sometime early January. So I would like to buy a handful of more rentals. We've been doing the midterm rental with a couple of the ones that I have, and it's been working out really well. So I would like to continue to do that and grow
Shit, we
that.
could spend a whole episode just talking about that
Oh, for
alone.
sure. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it'll come
yeah.
up. So I definitely would love to buy a couple more rentals. I don't really have a number or anything kind of laid out for that yet. Maybe I'll talk to my business partner, kind of get something ironed out, on what we want to do, cause we did say we wanted to buy two this year. We got the one, and, we got the other one kind of on the hook. So, we're going to fall a little bit short of that this year, but I think it'll close sometime January. So 72 transactions. I really want to focus on, growing and being a good team leader, maybe, get another person or two underneath me and on the team, depending on how that's going. And, but here's the thing, like I said, I spent 10 years in the restaurant industry. I spent a lot of time managing people. And, one thing I really didn't want to do with this from the get go is just bite off more than I can chew, cause I've got to focus on my production as well at this point. Like I've still got to close my 60 deals. I can't be. I can only put my effort in so many places. So I want to grow the team, grow as a leader. We're gonna have another baby in June, which is gonna be awesome, and a whole whirlwind. Just having two under three, which will be crazy. And yeah, let's say
Some
those
personal goals.
personal
Got
goals.
your business. What about
Yeah,
personal?
personal. So I want to try to compete a couple more times this year in jiu-jitsu. At least I would say at least 3 times. I usually compete 2 or 3 times a year. So this year I really want to do an IBJJF tournament, which for those of you that don't know, IBJJF is kind of like the premier jiu-jitsu like affiliation or federation. Yeah. They're national, or not national. It would be global, international. There you go. International. They're it's kind of if you win an IBJJF tournament, it's like it means something for sure.
Mhm.
So I've never done one of those. I've done I've got some medals up there for tournaments I've done in the past, but I've never done an IBJJF. So I want to do at least one of those. Actually came to St. Louis for the first time this past year. I didn't end up competing at it, but if they come back to St. Louis, I'll definitely do that. But if not, I'm definitely going to go somewhere and travel. Like I know the Chicago Open's a big one. I think that's in April. So, that would be kind of perfect timing for with the baby. I just know that, come June, things are gonna get a little more hectic around here and my time's gonna be a little bit more limited. And that's the thing about competing in jiu-jitsu. You kind of really have to change your mindset a little bit,
Right.
and you got to really like focus, and it definitely eats up a lot of more like my mental capacity, just because you gotta like you gotta dedicate some time and effort into it, because I mean you're going out there on a mat with guys that that want to strangle you unconscious or break your arms. Like
Right.
it's a it's a nerve-wracking thing. So I kind of always have to hype myself up to do it, and so yeah, I want to compete 3 times. Man, one thing I really need to do or really need to focus on, man, my diet has been shit
I
lately.
think
So
I think everybody goes into it. I know I'm going to do it and
yeah,
hold each other accountable, and hopefully the people
yeah,
watching and listening, do the same. Like,
yeah.
hold us accountable. We're slacking off. I'm going to call you out. I'm slacking off. You call me out.
Yeah,
But
for sure. I think they say that January is the World Carnivore Month. I've been, listening to Rogan for years and all these other people talking about this carnivore diet, and I think I want to try it for a month in January. Just do nothing but meat and fruit for a month, and I think there's a tournament coming up here locally in St. Louis and in February. So, it would help me shed some pounds to maybe make it to that lower weight class. And so I think I'm gonna do it come January 1st. Gonna do nothing but meat and fruit for a month and just kind of see what happens, because I've never done anything that I did the carnivore for a couple weeks, but I just kind of fell off it. But it might be hard with a pregnant wife, but we'll see. What are
that's the thing, man. Consistency. That's where I think most people end up falling, is being consistent. So yeah, it's on my list. I need
yeah,
to get more consistent in the gym and with my diet. And I love food.
I
It's
know.
like, if send me a good restaurant,
I
and I
know.
am going to go, and I'm going to eat that restaurant out of food. Like, I just
Yeah.
love to eat good
Oh yeah,
food.
like last night I'm on my way home from jujitsu, and I called Gina. I'm like, hey, I'm on my way home. She went out with, it was like a work party at like a restaurant, and they all went, and it's like, yeah, I ordered a pizza. I only ate like one piece. The rest of it's in the fridge, and fucking get home last night and house, the whole thing. Like I'm a fucking glutton. And I just I eat it all, and I'm like sitting there, I'm like, why did I do that? And I just felt like trash. And now today she's like, you ate, she goes up, well, thanks for saving me some. You ate that whole fucking thing. And I was like, Jesus. She's
All
like,
right, Gina.
yeah, exactly. Sorry, honey. But yeah, so that's something I really want to really dial in this, we got the Christmas is next week, so
Right.
I'll be honest, it's not realistic for me to start a. They always say, oh, it's not. Don't wait till Monday, or
Right.
don't whatever. I'm like, well, fucking Christmas is Monday,
Right.
so I'm like,
Exactly.
I'm gonna enjoy Christmas, and then we're gonna dial it in. I'm usually pretty disciplined. I most of the time, but I've just definitely fallen off this like last month. But yeah, anyway, so what are some of your goals this year?
Oh, let's see. Business wise, same as you, grow our team. We brought one new loan officer on earlier this year, and she's really been getting after it. She's just kind of giving her that freedom because of the way we're structured, with our assistants and everything, and having our own processor. I mean, if it wasn't for those three, we wouldn't be the team that we are. They're fucking rock
Yeah,
stars, and that's why they're there. And it allows us to do other things like this, and get out and have meetings, and sit down with agents and financial advisors and stuff like that. And she's finally able to do that, where she was at before. I mean, she was having to originate and chase conditions and all that. Like, no, no, no. Like, you go out, you bring the business in. We've got people that are there to help with that. And since she's been doing that, we've seen her business spike, and I'm looking forward to continuing to see her grow, as well as possibly add some new people on, as well as grow my own business. We're constant. I got a goal every year. My goal is to sit down with 52 new real estate agents that I don't already have relationships with, and so that's one a week. And it seems like a lot, but if you're doing, I've got my daily, non-negotiable things that I do from personal as well as work, and one of those is calling agents on a daily basis. So I don't stop calling until I have at least one meeting. Agents are really good at canceling last minute, so I usually have two.
hey, we got a showing. I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah.
Sorry,
Hey,
can we reschedule?
yeah. Hey, something came up. I scheduled inspections exactly for the time we're supposed to meet. I get it. No, things come up, and that's fine. But yeah, so I usually try and have two or three, just because I know odds are
Someone's gonna cancel.
something's gonna come up. So yeah, it's funny how that works, but you know, hey, sorry, something came up. Well, you're not going to be able to get me back on the books for a while. And I'm like,
right.
Well, fuck me, huh?
Yeah.
There goes that opportunity. But no, it's fine. So I'll call until I have those meetings squared away. And then, and obviously this, we're both,
dude, I'm so pumped about this.
I'm just really excited about this. This is something, who would have thought, 2 years ago, that first deal we did.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it was just
crazy.
And here we are. It's.
I mean, how many deals do you think we've done together?
I mean,
I could go back and count, but it's got to be
like 40 or 50
it's gotta be
since
something
2020. Like it's insane. And you just, you just grow as friends over that time. Yeah. And so, yeah, really excited about the podcast, growing this, getting some people on here and getting their side of things. Talk to our first guest, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's agreed to come on for next week. So that'll be exciting. He likes to talk. And
he likes to talk.
He's a character and it's fun. And then obviously like the social side of things, like continuing to grow through social. We got Murph here on the backside. That's been killing
Murph on the ones and twos.
That's been killing it for us. So yeah, we're gonna keep doing that. And then obviously just business wise, just keep growing. Like if my mind says
we're like a tree, baby.
Yeah,
if we're not growing, we're dying.
Exactly. And so there's that. And then personal, definitely want to get more. I get more consistent in the gym. Like I always like, I'll get 3. I want to get there 3 to 4 times a week, and I'll get there 3 to 4. I'll get there, but it's like when I'm there, I'm not, like you said about being intentional. Like it's almost like I'm going through the motions. Like I want to be more intentional with the workouts that I do, more consistent with those. I don't like to put, one of those things with baseball is number goals. I don't like putting numbers on things, because once you hit that number, then it's like, oh,
what now?
But like, I want to, I want to cut weight, but I want to get to that point where I'm feeling healthy and energetic and all of the, just all of that. Now,
do this diet with me, bro.
Maybe I will. But yeah,
nothing but beef jerky and apples.
I could eat meat all day. You should see my freezer, man. It's loaded with nothing but sausage, steaks, chicken, all the good stuff. So
like cheese, eggs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fish count for that too?
I think so.
Okay, good.
And it's supposed to be animal products, and then I hear some people mix in like fruit and honey.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah. That's, I don't know. So I'm gonna give it a try for a month, and I think I know I'm gonna lose weight doing it for sure. There's no way I'm not gonna, and it's not like I don't need like to lose that much, but I am kind of heavy right now for where I'd like to be. So, I think it would shed a little bit of weight for that tournament in February. And, but anyway, you said something there about like being intentional in the gym, and that just got me thinking. I was like, man, that's really why I like, the 2 forms of exercise that I enjoy the most are CrossFit and jiu-jitsu, because like I can't have this on me, like today I went and worked out at just Club Fitness right down the road, and like, of course I'm like, in between sets, I'm looking at my phone, I got emails coming in, I got texts, I got missed calls. I'm like, I'm thinking about that shit instead of thinking about, the movements that I'm doing, or, that's literally one of my favorite things about jiu-jitsu is because it's just like a guaranteed hour where I am not focusing. I'm focusing on that person in front of me that's trying to strangle me.
Right. Because if
if I lose focus, I'm getting choked out. Right. And, so that's one thing that, just got me thinking. I was like, man, that's really why that's like one of the things I love about that is like, this has to take 100% of my attention. Otherwise, there's physical consequences,
Absolutely. Yeah. And then another thing is just, again, intentional time with my kids. Like I already with the way the schedule works and every 2 days having them on and off, and then every other weekend, being intentional with that. Like we do a lot, and I still coach baseball, and I think that's awesome because they come with me to practice, and they get, again, we talked about seeing and based and mimicking what they see, like, and they love baseball, and I'm not trying to push that on them, but get them into more organized sports. Obviously at this age, they're still learning which sports they want to play, but hell, if my kids want to tell me they want to play every sport, motherfucker, you better believe I'm going to sign them up for every sport. Like, it's just one of those things. Like my parents did it for me. If I wanted to try it, they afforded me opportunities. I just want to afford those opportunities for them to at least give it a shot and be like, you know what, I really like this. I want to continue, or no, I don't. Like, and it's crazy how different, like I'm playing for my ex-wife and I, but are 15 months apart, but how different they are. Like
straight out of the box.
Oh yeah. It's just Connor loves baseball. Oliver likes it, but he'd rather line you up and try and tackle you or punch you. And I'm like, all right, well, we're going to get you into jiu-jitsu as soon as I can, so
dude, I can't wait. I am so excited for that. The second I can get him into wrestling or jiu-jitsu, like, I'm going to be all over it. I can't wait. I'm just like, but like you said, like, I don't want to like force it on him, like, I don't want it to be the thing. Like, I don't want to be the dad that's like trying to like live through the kid, like I want him to love it. So like, I'm not going to shove it down his throat, but I'm gonna be like, hey, check this out. This is what this is what I do, like
well,
this is.
I think maybe like, I know for myself, I'm not gonna speak for you on this, but I know for myself, like that's why I was so successful with baseball. Like my dad played hockey and football growing up. Like I don't feel like he pushed me into those sports, but the fact that he didn't know jack shit about baseball and he got me in with people that knew what the hell they were doing and were amazing, like at teaching and all this, is like, they just step back. Like there was no pressure with baseball. It's not like I'm saying I felt pressure with hockey or football, but hockey games, my dad would stand in the corner away from all the other parents. I knew exactly where my dad was every game, and he would have little hand signs and motions like, hey, you're skating slow right now, or you need to start moving your feet. And he'd do like this or something like that. Like, hey, get your fucking ass in gear. You look slow right now.
Yeah.
Like that's that, but that's what it was. And like I said, I never felt pressure with it, but like, I don't know. It felt more like I didn't feel like I loved hockey. And I still play hockey. I still play to this day. But with baseball, I didn't have that pressure. And it wasn't like when the first time someone's told me like, hey, I had a professional team call about Pat, or I've got these colleges calling about Pat, my parents are like, shut the fuck up. Like, no, you're just trying to sell us to pay more for lessons.
Right.
And they're like, no, like, seriously, I will give Pat lessons for free. This is for real. And so they didn't realize, they didn't know. And that's what I see with parents today. Like I coach a select baseball team, and I did it in the past. And, parents were always asked, like, why were you able to succeed? What do I need to do for my son to succeed? I'm like, first off, your son needs to be here asking me that question, not you.
Yeah.
And secondly, all you need to do is pay for them to fucking be here and shut the fuck up.
Drive them here.
Go sit in the fucking stands. Just shut the fuck up and support them.
Yeah, nothing worse than the dad out there trying to coach. I coached kids jiu-jitsu for like a year, this is several years ago, and like, man, it was so frustrating to me that you'd get like the dad out there, like whenever we have like a local tournament, and you got all these 6, 7, 8-year-old kids like out there competing, and this might be the first time they've ever competed or something, but then you get the the dad on the side of the mat like yelling stuff that like he has no experience in what he's doing, like especially like combat sports. It's like, like he's just giving him awful advice, and it's like, no, listen to me. I'm like the one who actually kind of knows what I'm talking about a little bit here. Like I was still even a beginner then. Like, I mean, I still would almost consider myself a beginner now. Like that's the thing about, jiu-jitsu, like you're always learning, like you're never going to have it all figured out. But then you have these dads on the side of the mat, like yelling things, or they're, it's just like totally distracting, or they're listening to their dad more than they're listening to like me or the other coaches. And it's just like, man, it made me realize, all right, well, whenever I have kids, like I definitely don't want to be that dad. Like I'm not going to be the dad. Like I played baseball, I played, hockey, I played football, I played soccer, I played basketball, but I was never very good at those things. And like, I'm not gonna, the only sport I'd feel confident in, like, giving some sort of advice is some sort of grappling sport, whether wrestling or jiu-jitsu. And, if those are the sports that my son's into, like, yes, I might have something to say about those. But I still want the coach to take the precedence. I'm not going to try to coach him unless I'm involved with coaching the team, I have no intention.
And that's the thing, like coaching takes is a skill in itself,
dude. Yeah.
And like, I know that, like, hey, I'm going to fuck up as a coach, and I'll be the first one. When I fuck up, I'll be the first one to admit that I fucked up. But dude, you played high school baseball. You made the freshman team. Good for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a shit what your past was unless you know more than I do. And even then, like, I talk to me, tell me your concerns. I don't need to hear you. Hey, throw strikes.
Yeah.
Hey, get a hit. No shit. Like,
take him down.
Yeah, like no shit. We got to do that. Like,
Right.
you think he's out there intentionally trying to throw balls or trying to strike out? No, you're just adding more fucking pressure to the situation. And one of the cool, like I forget who it was, but I was some video that I saw that was talking about these two kids that played high school ball together. They both wound up playing pro ball together, and the kid that was the guy that was narrating was talking about how he always felt so much pressure in certain situations, coming up with bases loaded or like the end of the game, and how he would struggle. But then he had this other guy that would hit right behind him, and he knew that guy was the most calm person ever. And he came back, and they're talking after the fact, and like, why is it that, like, how are you able to stay calm? And I'm getting up here and I'm so nervous that I could throw up. And he's like, oh, look at where your dad is. Look at where my dad is. My dad's chilling down the foul line, just watching the game, not saying a fucking word. Your dad's in the back going rah, 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 saying all these things. Who do you think's got more pressure on him? I go out and know that whether I drive this guy in or not,
right,
there's no pressure here. Like, if I make the play, like, my dad's way down there. He's just enjoying watching the game. He's not doing anything. If you get out, your dad's going to probably be as upset or just as upset or more than you are.
And you're going to hear about it.
And you're going to hear about it. Like, fuck that, dude. Like, that's it. I just wish parents would just shut the fuck up. And seriously, like, don't even come. Just don't come. Like, it would be amazing to see how, like, the skill set and like how kids could do these things with just free, like, no pressure, no whatsoever. Like, obviously it's my job to put the pressure on them to make them better, but that's what practice is for.
Right.
I want you to practice so hard that you're fucking up, because it's only going to make you better. When you get to the game, just fucking play. And that's almost like why I don't want Connor and Oliver to get into baseball, because I know what's going to fucking happen. Hey, you're going to coach. I'm like, no, the fuck I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, someone else is coaching these kids. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to laugh.
Yeah.
And I'm going to love watching every second of this. And I'm not going to put any pressure on them to go out and play this sport. Same thing with hockey. I'm not going to put pressure. Like, hell, the best thing that could happen is they go do gymnastics or jujitsu. I don't know shit about it. I'm going to put them in your hands.
Yeah.
You coach them. You do it all. And if they wind up on UFC one day,
cool.
If not, they know how to defend themselves.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Worst case scenario. All right. Well, I guess
that was
fun first episode.
Fun first episode.
Yeah, man.
I know we went over a lot of introducing us and what our goals and stuff are, and we're going to continue to elaborate on that stuff. And we're going to start bringing in more guests and things, and get their side of things and what their mindset is. And that's the thing is mindset, manhood, fatherhood, dad life, entrepreneurship, and just the whole mental aspect of things, and how, what it takes to mentally be at the top of your game.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to talking about this. Anything else you want to?
No, I'm just excited to start this with you, and this is going to be fun, man.
Yeah.
So I'd appreciate it if listeners out there would like, subscribe, tell their friends about the show. Our plan is to have a guest a week. Me and Pat, on the probably be on both this side of the table interviewing our guest over there, and we're gonna be dropping at least one episode a week for now, and eventually we might start dropping some more. So like, subscribe. Follow us on social media. We can kind of see a little bit more about us on there. I'm at Zach_Fagas on Instagram, and Zach Fagas on Facebook, and Zach Fagas powered by Keller Williams St. Louis on Facebook as well.
I am Instagram STL_mortgage nerd, and then just Pat Doyle on Facebook. We have a Patrick Doyle business page on there, but usually just going straight to the personal page anyway.
Yeah, me too.
And like Zach said, I mean, one of the favorite things about one of my favorite podcasts, Andy Frisella's, is pay the dues at the end. Like, hey, like, if you liked it,
pay the fee.
Yeah, if you liked it, we're not, there's no cost to this. But if you like the show, please share it with friends, family, colleagues, anybody that you feel like will benefit from listening to this. We'd greatly appreciate it.
Definitely. Well, we'll see you guys next week, and hope you guys have a good day.